This chapter did a good job of transitioning about halfway through into the beginning of Robin's flashback, so we'll learn more about her mysterious past.
One Piece, chapter 391, The Girl They Called a Demon.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and fellow gear users of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and adventure-filled and thrill-a-minute and just wonderfully written and realized tale that is One Piece. Our last chapter, of course, saw us with all the Straw Hats pretty much simultaneously arriving at the top of the tower where Luffy was at, all at the same time. And really the ending of it for me was very touching as they stood six wide. Basically like, hey, we're here for Robin, and that's the bottom line. And they all had just their game faces on, It was a great way to end a chapter, especially since the chapter prior had actually been all the CP9 meatheads standing over there shoulder to shoulder. Not quite as cool, not quite as stoic looking, but a very similar way to end each chapter. So anyway, that's where the chapter left off. This chapter winds up picking up, and we actually go and we're kind of taken to the battlefront outside the courthouse. Kashi and Oimo are like, you know what, we may have been duped and everything else, but for 50 years, but the one thing we are good at is guarding a fucking gate, right? So these guys they're just taking guys out by the hundreds, man, doing belly flops on them, and it's just great to see these giants, these huge 80-foot tall behemoths, whatever they are, 50-foot tall, just going and taking out and holding back thousands of soldiers, so just absolutely wonderful. What winds up happening, though, is really the whole purpose that this serves, is we wind up getting Paulie, Lulu, and Tilestone, who we haven't seen in a few chapters, who obviously we're trailing back along with, or coming with the Giants, and they're going to go and split up and actually help Kiwi and Mozu, and along with some of the Franky family that's still left, to kind of reinforce and help them, because the key to this whole thing working is them getting to their two levers and dropping that drawbridge, right? So as we go back up onto the tower over there, and we see, all of the Straw Hats, of course, standing across from all of the CP9 members. Spandam over there just winds up being just the douchebag that he is, and, he starts shooting out orders to the CP9 guys. Okay, you have license to kill them, but you can only do it in the Tower of Law, and he's thinking in his head, he's like, yeah, the good thing about this is that if I don't let him run rampant, I can keep him close by, so basically he'll be protected no matter what, And as he goes, he winds up making fun of the fact that they fought their way here and that they're all standing there and calling across to Robin, and Robin is still rejecting them and is still like, I don't want to come with you, So, again, I still don't know what her deal is, but we wind up about halfway through this chapter shortly after, actually kind of starting into what I presume is going to be her flashback. And I don't know how long it takes or how many chapters it is, but it's something that, for me, has been a couple hundred chapters in the making. I've been wanting to see this for a while. So, but what he does before he does that is he starts to go and toy around with and go, oh yeah, and I got this buster call right here. Should I press the button? Should I press the button? Just like the asshole that he is. You just want to grab him, and you just want to grab the back of his head and just pummel his face in, until there's no face left. That's kind of what I want to do to him. But anyway, homicidal thoughts aside about Spandam, we got to get back to the main point over here. And it was basically him just kind of going and just talking out his ass, trying to be the big boy, trying to be the big swinging dick. And he's not, you know what I mean? So Robin goes and flips, man. She freaks out, and she's like, what the hell? Like kind of like, hey, you don't do that lightly. You don't ever use a buster call. You don't ever use a buster call. And he goes and he just kind of likes getting that type of reaction from somebody. But for him, because she's like, do you know what that means if you do that? And he says, yeah, it means that these Straw Hats I guarantee that they'll never leave here alive, if he winds up pressing this button, pressing this button. But you can see that this is something that, obviously we know from just the little snippets of information we got that a buster call was obviously used 20 years ago, where on Ohara, or the people of Ohara. I'm assuming that was an island, and pretty much wiped out everyone, or wiped out everybody but her. So that's how we go, and we kind of just segue into the flashback. And this is kind of as she's sitting there, just sort of fighting these inner demons and what's going on from her mind and her past, right? So it takes us to 20 years ago, Ohara, you know, and you see Robin as this cute little girl, and she's just kind of sitting there reading some books and whatnot. And some kids come over to bother her, you know, it looks like anyway. Oh, it's the monster, you know. And as she turns, it looks like she goes and uses her powers to have a couple arms come out of her or whatever. But and they don't even really show it, but apparently one of these kids claims that he got hit by her or whatever, you know. And then you get some asshole parent that comes over and goes, "Oh, don't hit my kid anymore, you're a fucking weirdo," you know. So anyway, if not to add insult to injury, she winds up then going home, right? And she comes home and she's like, "Hey, Aunt Rogie," I think it was her name, Aunt Rogie, something like that. "I'm home," you know. She winds up reading this note. "Hey, Robin, you know, there's it's my daughter's birthday, you know, not your cousin, you know, or anything like that. No, it's my daughter's birthday. The three of us, I'm presuming her aunt, her uncle, and the daughter, right, her cousin, all decided to go out alone, like, fuck you without you, right?" And this is just so reminding me of, like, the Cinderella story. You know, there's bread and there's bread and stuff. Fix yourself something to eat, but don't eat too much jam, you know, as if, like, this 8-year-old girl is going to wind up eating them out of house and home for the jam, right? But whatever. You know, just trivial stuff to nitpick at, I guess. But I think it was what pissed me off was what came next, you know, do the washing and bring this in and bring that in and clean this and all this shit, all these Cinderella-like chores, and make sure that you're up in bed before it's too late, like before we get home. We don't even want to see you. You know, that's what I took from it, right? Now, I don't know because we don't actually see or meet the aunt and everything else up front, but I have a feeling that she's just as much of a despicable piece of shit as the rest of the people on the island that clearly treat Robin differently. Maybe because of her powers, maybe because of something in her past, maybe because of something that happened to her parents. I don't know. I'm hoping it all comes to light here and we see it before the end of this flashback or find out about it. So, but anyway, Robin goes and she does some of the things that she's supposed to, and then kind of goes and takes off on her merry way. And she goes to, and I thought this was actually drawn really cool. It's called the Tree of Knowledge, Ohara Library and Archaeological Research Center. And it actually is kind of cool. Anybody here in the States that's ever been to Disney World, the Animal Kingdom Park actually has this cool, huge tree with a bunch of stuff carved into it and everything. And it's gigantic like this, and you can actually go inside underneath it. It's called like the Tree of Life. That's what this reminds me of, but it's like, there, you know, it's straight up, there's like a house in there, man. That's the coolest shit. I'd love to live in there. But anyway, she winds up going and coming in, and everybody's like, shh, shh, shh. And then all of a sudden, everybody pops out, and congratulations, surprise! And it's like a surprise party for her. And what it is it's actually all the archaeologists of Ohara. Obviously, she's been studying to be an archaeologist, and they say that she passed her doctoral exam, aced it. She aced her doctoral exam, and that now she is an archaeologist. So, again, we don't see her parents, at least in this, 10-page or 8-page, whatever portion of this flashback. So I'm not sure what happened to them, but that is how the chapter leaves off. So you can see that her niche and her kind of groove that she found amongst her own people was with other archaeologists, That's obviously where her, for whatever reason or other, where her interests lie, and that's obviously where her only friends are, too, because you can see that the townsfolk treated her like shit. People looked at her as like this monster and everything else, and I'm assuming because of the devil fruit power that she has. I don't know when she ate it, when she got it, or whatever. Maybe, though, it has something to do with where her parents are gone. She acquired the power and accidentally hurt or killed one of them, or both. I don't know. And that's why everybody thinks she's a freak, and now she's living with her aunt. I just couldn't help but draw comparisons to Cinderella, though, when this bitch left her a note about how, and we went out on our own, like they're not even related, and do all this and this and that, and then make sure you're in bed early, So, what the fuck you? Anyway, that's what I was thinking in my mind, And goddamn, I've seen Cinderella, she's gonna come out on top, just wait until we get the glass slippers and the pumpkin and all that, and the fairy godmother. But that's how the chapter left off, and actually it was a good chapter, but it was kind of one of those weird chapters where it was halfway into it went into the flashback, so you didn't really get enough information about the flashback, and you didn't really get enough going on in the actual chapter itself. It was kind of like, it was the tale of two halves, but each half put together didn't make a whole, that sort of thing, at least in my opinion. So my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, what I want to know is, as far as what are your thoughts, your initial thoughts when you went into this flashback. What were some of the things that you were expecting to see and to find out? There's the obvious reason that we want to know what happened and why that Buster call was actually made on there. Was it all because of her? Was it because of somebody else that posed a danger or a threat to the world government? Or was it because there was some other dildo like this Spandam that wound up having his finger on the trigger, so to speak, and wound up hitting this thing errantly? I don't really know. I just know that, again, looks like it's going to be a very sad flashback, you know, as most of them are for the individual characters, for the Straw Hats anyway. So, but let me know what your answer to that question is in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Remember to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and subscribe to my other channels.